Hello, welcome to the Artist Pivot Podcast. My name is Ayana Majabay, and I am an actress, voiceover artist, mentor, and your host. This show is a bi-weekly conversation highlighting pivots and life lessons from the perspective of artists, those who work in and around the arts, and arts educators. For those listening who don't consider themselves artists, you can pivot too. Everyone possesses the ability to do so. You just have to be reminded sometimes. All of our life lessons have taught us to be better pivoters, and it is my goal to share these life lessons to guide and inspire others. Here is this week's episode. All right, y'all. So today on the podcast, I am so excited to say that joining me is Miss Britney Lee. And Britney is the Performing Arts Center Specialist and Theater and Dance District Lead for Clayton County Public Schools. Britney has a BFA in Musical Theater from Montclair State University and a Master's in Educational Theater from New York University. With well over 15 years in arts education, directing, coaching, and producing, Britney believes in the power of the arts and its ability to build self-love, confidence, and determination. Y'all, Britney Lee is here. Hey, girl!
Hey! Come on, intro.
You know, I like to give a little intro to my guests, you know.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you.
Of course.
Yes. So I want to start off with this question, and it usually throws my guest off, so I keep doing it. So if I asked you to send me an imaginary text right now about how you're doing, if I say, hey, Britney, how are you doing? But don't look at me like that. See, but you could only respond in emojis only. What would you text me?
Oh, yes. The emoji with it's like the circle and then it's like the bomb going off at the head, like exploding.
Yes. Uh-huh.
That's where I am right now. Yes. That's pretty much where I am every other day for the most part.
Okay.
And that's a good thing and a bad thing. I mean, I'd rather, I guess because I'm busy, always busy, there's always something to do, especially within my job, within my life in general. But I like it that way because when I'm just not busy, it's just a weird feeling. Like, what am I doing here on this earth and why? So, yes.
Great. Thank you so much for that imaginary text.
No problem.
Thank you. So I wanted to bring you on to talk about, pivots, but specifically in arts education. I've talked to a lot of artists, but I've, been looking around at people I know, and I'm like, I do not know a lot of people in arts education. And talking about, the specific pivots and challenges and things that you as an arts educator have had to deal with, are dealing with, and kind of looking into the future going, oh, yeah, I learned that lesson from a pivot I had to do years ago, so I'm going to bring that lesson up right now to deal with this situation. You know what I'm saying? So let's start with just a little bit of history of, your career as an arts educator. So y'all, I'm not gonna age us, but we met back at Montclair State University. That's all I'm gonna say.
We're gonna leave that there.
We're gonna leave that right there.
Well, I will say this. I never saw myself going into the education side of the arts. I will say that. My mother was an educator. My dad dabbled a little in education. That just wasn't his thing, though. But I just never saw myself going into it. It wasn't until when I was at Montclair State and I was trying to make, money on the side, I started doing various kind of like workshops or classes for after school programs or rec centers and so forth. And I started to like it. So when I graduated, I started auditioning, got something here and there, and that was going fine. But I just kept going back to doing summer camps and teaching. And then I said, I really like this. Like I like working with kids. Like it is pressure. It is the crazy thing. It is the same type of pressure that I got when I was on stage or when I focused on just being on stage. It's just a different type of pressure because it's like not only are you trying to teach all of these skills and so forth to these students, they have to embrace them. They have to learn them. They have to do it. And that's a whole nother world. So when they do it, honey. That feeling on the inside is like a round of applause from 1,000+ people, and that just makes me feel good on the inside. But like I said, I didn't intend on going into it. After Montclair, I kind of drove back into it. When I went to get my master's at NYU, I was student teaching at LaGuardia High School, and I came in contact with a lot of dope people. I mean, a ton of dope educators. People that had been on stage. One of my mentors was Sandy Faison, who was actually the first, I cannot remember this character's name, I feel so bad, secretary on Broadway for Annie. Yes. And she was amazing, an amazing mentor. I mean, amazing. But she gave it to you on both sides. So, and a lot of things I learned from her, which is crazy. And I learned some of these things from my mom too. One, you can be an educator, but you are still a woman. You are still a person. And that is important in education, because whatever image you put out to these kids, they remember that. Point blank, period. They remember that. So if you come to work and you're just not feeling yourself and your energy is low and it's just, oh, woe is me in the world, you have to know that energy is being like accepted from those kids, and you don't want to put that on them, because you need them at their best 24/7 in order for them to understand or listen and receive what you're trying to give them. So, and that's across the board, what you look like, how you dress, all of that, it is your image. And of course, I mean, that's a duh, as performers, artists, we're always being creative and trying to figure out, what we're going to do, how we're going to be, what we're going to look like, so forth and so on. But in education, imagine the person on the subway that told you your shoes were cute or your shirt was nice. Imagine 30,000 of them. But now they're like bleeding in your soul, trying to see like, why did you put those shoes on? And I like the older kids too. So they're like, okay, I like it. I do. I don't. Did you see that? I mean, I've heard kids talk so bad about teachers. Like,
oh no,
God, are you in their wardrobe? What is wrong with you? But not that I care, but it's still, like I said, it's still a representation of yourself. And the kids remember that. They remember the loud, outspoken, over the top, eccentric teacher. Of course, that is me. But they also remember the one that just never seemed like her stuff was together. Ever. Yeah. She just woke up and she just rolled out and walked into class, and you were like, can you be courteous and respectful to me at my time? Yeah. So, but like I said, we're going back to the original question. In education, on that part of it, understanding the arts and being true to the arts has been very interesting. During my career, I've been at a lot of different schools, in about 3 different districts, to be honest with you, which is not a lot. So the age ain't that old, which is not a lot, but I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot to know what I want. When I initially, like I said, started out with teaching, I was doing, after school programs or doing this. I did early childhood for a little bit, kind of finding my way. When I went ahead and moved back home to DC, I was at a middle school that I was just like the drama teacher. And there is a difference between the drama teacher and the theater teacher. I will tell you that.
Really? Wait, hold on. I'm going to put a pin in that. Explain that to me.
The drama teacher is there to, for lack of better words, entertain, and to get the kids just honestly speaking. If you can just get them to speak and move, you're doing good as the drama teacher. You're not, and you're introducing theater in little, perspectives here and there, but and this is just my opinion, you can't always take it so serious, because specifically the schools you're at traditional schools, it's an elective. Treat it like it's an elective. They may come and they be all for it that day, and they may come the next day and they're not for it. And that, I praise the teachers that do that. I realize I'm not that teacher. Right. But I praise them that do. I praise them that do, and that stick in there for the long term of really reaching those kids, because you do reach kids. You do. You may not reach all of them, but you do reach a percentage of them. I mean, I still have kids when I was teaching at that middle school that I'm Instagram and Facebook friends on. And I've seen how they're blossoming in their life, and they text me still and communicate with me. And that makes my heart feel good.
Yeah.
But those were some of the hardest times, because I found myself in a space where I was constantly trying to prove, the relevance of drama, or the relevance of it, and that it's not just about entertainment sometimes, and it's about, understanding yourself and having a better appreciation of yourself as well. And so I realized that just wasn't me. So when I moved to Georgia because of love, which is the craziest thing. But on the way down, I had got a phone call from a fine arts high school, and it ended up being my dream job to be a theater director of a high school. And I went to a performing arts high school in DC. So that's just always a space I wanted to be in. I remembered, being a student at school. I remembered the joy of my teachers and how fabulous they were and amazing, and how much they made me want to come every day, from academics to the arts. Like, I just wanted to be there all the time for And so I wanted that. So when I came here to this school, the school was still relatively new.
Okay.
It was interesting. I've never seen myself being at a school where the marquee, says fine arts, but you walk in a building and you don't smell it. So that was interesting. The kids, amazing, great, fabulous, good kids. I mean, good kids.
Yeah.
Talented kids. Love them. But it was just between administration and between just you're feeling like you're fighting all the time for something that is a duh, because it's like written on literally the building. It's just like, why am I fighting? This is crazy. Which I'm always down for a good fight. That never was the issue. But I found myself, being asked to do more things outside of my school setting, and being pushed in ways of, kind of pushing the arts to every school versus just one school. But I was a theater director there. And the difference between that being a theater director and a drama teacher is a theater director, I can teach curriculum. I can teach skills. I can, focus on, this, because they were in high school, focus on you going into this career and taking it seriously. And I didn't have to feel like somebody's going to say back to me, but I'm not even trying to do this. Like, like, what do you mean? What, this ain't real. This ain't real life. You can't make no money out of this. So that's the difference, is that you're at a school where they're auditioning to get into the school. And it kind of is like, well, if you're not, why are you here?
Why you here? Yeah.
Yeah, So I had kids that, in the high school setting, I had kids that, because I was so about it, they either learned to love it more or realized that wasn't necessarily something they wanted to do, which is okay.
Yes.
Because I'm not going to stop my drive. So, which is okay, as long as you are doing what you want to do. And that's ultimately, some kids realize that, this is not something I want to go into, but this is definitely like a hobby of mine that I love to do. Listen, as long as you can appreciate it, we good. So that, like I said, that job led me to where I am now. And I'm still fighting, of course, but the fight is different on the district level. It's I'm not fighting to bring in an artist or to like have, our friend maybe Jelani or our numerous friends or people that are working in the business, that have worked in the business, that are still coming up in the business, to come in and do a master class or come talk to the kids or, just do a pop-up. Because especially when it comes to artists, some of them know their tour schedules, some of them don't. Some of them know their availability, some of them don't. So anything can happen, at any moment. And
Yeah.
and you just have to be in a setting where you're able to receive it, and you are able to, kind of get your kids connected with those people, because that's important.
Yeah.
That is so important, is that our kids see, people that look like them, in the arts, but know that
Mhm.
what they have or what they're doing is attainable, because that's a problem also in the arts. People feel like it's so disconnected with real
Yeah.
life, and that's not true. That is not true. That same audition you could have went to,
Mhm.
that same opportunity you could have had, that same, the way that they act or they apply themselves, that may not be the way that you do it, but that's still something that you can do.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the biggest things that I'm able to do here. I created this, it's called, theater. Well, it's Arts in Our School Month, and because I serve theater and dance teachers, everybody's on board. So
Mhm.
for the full month of March, we have, outside artists come
Okay.
in and they do workshops. Before COVID, it was huge. We had a lot. Now we kind
Yeah.
of we contained it a little bit, whereas each curriculum maybe does about 6 classes at the most.
Okay.
But we have these amazing artists coming for our kids, and the best part about it is it's open to everybody. It's open to every school in the district.
Huh.
They just have to sign up.
Yeah.
Some of the classes are held here in the space here at the Performing Arts Center, where we have a lot of space. So
Mhm.
we can do big opera workshops, we can do big acting workshops, we can
Ooh.
do big dance workshops, or sometimes I
Mhm.
do go to the school next door for dance, because they have a huge dance studio. It's a great feeling, is that my job focuses on the arts. I've had a lot of people try to, pivot me
Mhm.
into, going more so into just administration,
Yeah.
and maybe being like a assistant principal or
Mhm.
principal or something like that. And I told myself, I said, well, if it's of a fine art school, yes, but if it
Yeah.
is not, no.
Uh-huh.
And that took a lot of convincing, that I feel that strongly about what I do, that
Mhm.
I want to focus on that, because I've seen a lot of administrators that may have started in the arts,
Yeah.
and they've allowed everything else kind of like, stir them off their path,
Mhm.
into focusing on the arts. But my focus is arts. My focus is arts education.
Right.
My focus is, but not only that, but giving you quality arts education, because
There
that
you
is
go.
so important. That
Mhm.
is so important to me. I do not like when people dim down the light of the arts in order to fit something else, or to fit, a core academic curriculum. Or we're going to just throw in here where you're going to paint a little bit, and that way you're doing the arts. No, you're not.
Right.
Um,
Right.
so, so the goal is that, I use my expertise, and I sit on a lot of different panels here in the district, or a lot of different meetings here,
Mhm.
where, they're not always focused on the arts, but I have my coworkers, myself, even my supervisor, who will constantly remind them,
Yeah.
hello, yes,
Uh,
we're here. And this is where we feel that we can help you meet your
there it
goal
is.
with what we do. So
There it is.
yeah,
Yes.
hopefully
Yes.
somewhere I answered the question.
You did. You fully answered the question. Thank you so much. You fully answered the question.
Okay.
And yes, thank you for taking us down your path. And it warms my heart that you're like, this is about the arts, y'all. And this is about quality arts education. And I
Mhm,
also know I'm bringing all of my years of experience, and I'm going to instill this in every student that I can.
mhm,
And also to know, like you said, if there is a student that I have impacted that's like, oh, yeah, this is not maybe my career path, but I still appreciate the arts and I will continue to appreciate the arts.
mhm.
We can't ask for anything more than like, yeah, you may not be an artist for your career, but if you can appreciate the arts and then teach somebody else to appreciate the arts, then we have hit our
I'm
goal,
here for it. Yes.
you know?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. I love that.
I
I
say
love
this.
that.
I had this is funny, but my wife is a health and PE teacher,
Okay.
and she's also, a basketball coach,
Yeah.
track coach. She's just a lot. Everything sports.
Everything.
That's what
Yeah.
she does. So, they were having somebody called about asking for someone to sing for a board meeting, and they
Okay.
wanted the students to come from, or one of the students to come from her specific school.
Okay.
So the next thing, I get a phone call from my boss, and my boss is like, I need you to go to this school and listen to these kids because your wife, and I'm like, my wife, your wife said that this child sounds good, but she just needs to sing from her dia. And if she sings from her dia, and she was saying, your wife was saying some other things. And so I went up to the school before I could see the child. I asked my wife, I said, what did you say? Where do they need to sing from, baby? And she says, their dia. And she does this, their dia. And I'm like, she said, I told you I've been listening to you. Yes. I don't think that we've known each other now. We're going on like that 8-year mark, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And going on 2 years married. And mm-hmm. and of course my wife has been at rehearsals. She's worked shows. She's worked summer camps. I mean, baby girl's done it all.
Yeah.
But to hear her say it, but to use it correctly, because I did hear the child and I said, oh my God, you are so correct. Like, if this baby just got out of her throat, we'd be doing good.
Yeah.
So, and I'm laughing and I'm like, oh my God, like, you are, like, just you as a person that has no artistic experience and don't want to have any either. Okay. You have enough appreciation for it that you understood, the terminology to use it in the correct way. Even though this is the smallest example, but something as small as that, it goes a long way. Is that because whoever you said that to, you open their mind up to something. You open the next person's mind up to something, so forth and so on, and boom, boom, boom. But you did it in the correct way. And then you got people that do it in the wrong way, and you get mad at them for it. But when it's done in the correct way, that's something to be like, hallelujah.
Yes.
You were listening. You were listening. So just knowing about that appreciation, for the arts. Like when I met my wife, she went to sleep during musicals.
Oh, no.
I literally almost said, this is done. I'm done with you.
You're like, I can't do this.
But now she stays up and critiques.
Well, amen. And we don't get critiques. Okay. Hey.
Yes. Baby, we come a long way. I stay up doing games now, and I understand what they're doing in the court sometimes.
Look at that. Right. Everybody learning and appreciating. So yeah, I just had to share that little funny, little kiki. Yes, I love it. But that is such a great story as well. That like, oh wow, you've been paying attention. Oh my god, like, but you didn't even think to think that she was paying. Oh, I affect everybody around me. Like, oh, okay. So I just need to keep doing what I'm doing.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Yes. So my next question to you would be, I know that you're not, in the classroom every day like you used to be, but you still affect children every second. What lessons have you learned that you want to instill in your students through the arts and through just, like you said, being a person, being you?
Mm-hmm. Well, the biggest lesson that I have with any students is listening and receiving.
Okay.
Because no matter what you decide to do in the arts, I feel like if you listen and receive, you can understand what's going on around you, in front of you, next to you, and then you can pretty much react off of an honest understanding of what's going on. Because I think that I love our babies. I love them so much, but they can be so obsessed with themselves. And because they're so obsessed with themselves, it doesn't make for great reactions on stage. So I always say, listen and receive. And that's just not just, people on stage, that's backstage too. Like, you listen to what's going on, and these cues wouldn't be late, like point blank, period. That's the light booth, sound booth, everybody. So I will say that. Another one is to be brave.
Yeah.
Be brave and, and without fear as much as possible. The older kids get, the more fear they get. The older people get, the more fear you get. Point blank.
That part.
And that's important, is to just,
Mm-hmm.
be brave, but to take that and continue to let that lead you into wherever you're, supposed to be, or where you're supposed to go. Just to be brave,
Mm-hmm.
because you are you, and somebody else may not do what you did, or may not, just scream out loud in public, but you did. And
Mm-hmm.
because you did it, that affected somebody, either in a negative or positive way. So be
Mm-hmm.
you. If you want to, I know they always said, if you want to be the change that you want to see, and so forth. But if you want to be that different person, if you want to continuously stand out, be you.
Right.
Focus on what you're doing and how it affects you,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And
Mm-hmm.
there's a negative and a positive to that. But, just, relying on the positive side, which is just, be you and be brave
Yeah.
about it. Those are pretty much those are my two go-tos right there.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And those make sense, because I would even say, as you were speaking, I was like, I remember in theater class specifically feeling brave. Like, I would enter into that class and, like, that's the place that I was Ayana. Like, but then I'd walk out of the class and, go back, just walk down the hall like, oh, okay,
Right.
you don't see me, you don't see me. Or like,
Mm-hmm.
but in the theater, or I remember music class as well, like, that's where I was like, oh yeah, like I could sing this note, or I'll do the monologue. Like, I'd be the first to raise my hand. But I was
Right.
brave in that class, and I think it's because of the teacher and because
Mm-hmm.
of the other kids who were like, yeah, we can do this. But then
Mm-hmm.
you walk out into,
The
the
world.
rest of the school, the world, and you're like, oh, wait a minute, I don't know if I could do this.
Right. Are they going to
Mm-hmm.
judge me? Are they going to look at me weird? And I think and I
Yes.
still get that. I did a training last Friday at the Alliance Theater, which is this theater company here in Georgia.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a training. We have this connection where they're doing a grant with one of our schools. So they
Mm-hmm.
do a teacher training. It's like boot camps
Yeah.
for teachers. And I go to represent just the district, but I love going
Yeah.
because they are real live theater artists,
Mm-hmm.
and performers who, kind of lead these trainings.
Yeah.
And I have a ball there. Like, and it puts like, and if you're having a down day or a down week, and last week was a down week, I was, going through my girl time. I was just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, the woe is me life, but let me figure out how to bring this out. And I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I want to go to this training. They're going to have me running around being crazy. And at first I was like, but I went and I had a ball.
Mm-hmm.
I had a ball, and that I had that spark of energy, because as an adult, as an artist,
Mm-hmm.
especially in arts education, oh my God,
Yeah.
you need that boost sometimes. You need to
Yes.
be jump started right quick,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't get it, it's like you just feel like you're going in. Because
Mm-hmm.
some days I'm on a computer, 2, 3 computers and
Mm-hmm.
cell phones, predominantly most of the parts of my day. That's
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Even though there is a whole 1,200 seat theater right here,
Yeah.
1,700 seats if you turn all 3 halls. Okay.
Okay.
And there's this gorgeous sound system. And sometimes I go in there and I just scream and sing, because I
Yeah.
feel like doing that day. But that's right there, steps away.
Mm-hmm.
But this is sometimes where I'm confined to. And
Yeah.
sometimes that does not help my creative spirit, kind of just go. So you need that. So that training did that for me. It gave me my boost
Right.
that I needed, to kind of like continue to do what I do, because even within the emails that I send and so forth, they are arts related.
Yeah.
Like, and that is still, part of my gift to this world, of my gift, to kids. If I'm sitting here trying to organize a fine arts camp, or
Yeah.
I'm emailing back a teacher who the student wants to audition for the fine arts high school, and they're nervous and they need some monologue recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
That too, like that, all of that is part of what I do, and I
Yes.
love it.
Yes.
I love every single bit of it. Sometimes I wish my paycheck showed how much I loved it, but
Come on. We're gonna work on that.
other than that, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's a great opportunity. It's a great job. It's a great world.
Yes. Understood. Understood. Oh, that's great. That's great. And I love that you still, like you said, your creativity can still be used and shown and expressed and in all different modalities and in different ways, even though you are, arts education, arts administrator, but you're like, hey, y'all, I'm still a creative being. So like, you're going to get all my creativity in all of these different ways.
Yes. If I could say, if my coworkers had to write, I guess, a book about, or just like to go through a week and just observe me, they'd be like, yeah, she look crazy. Because even on the Zoom, she be just, like, sometimes it could just come out. It comes out. You just going to take it or you're not. Like, sometimes when my boss calls, she'll be like, hello, and if I'm having a good day, hello, how are you? She may get a little woo, woo, woo.
Right.
And she's just like, okay, I see you're happy today. I sure enough am. Yeah. And how are you? And don't get me started on my voices and stuff and my impersonations, girl. They just hilarious.
But
that's just me. I mean, I feel like you can't, I might not be on a stage 20%, but technically I'll say this. These emails, these meetings, all of that is my stage because I feel like somebody is always trying to critique me, like tell the girl what she's doing. Yes, that's how she did it. So, it's just a different platform,
There you go.
I can wear Uggs versus a character shoe. Come on.
Okay. Come on now. I'm here for it. Because sometimes the character shoes, you be like, I want to be wearing Uggs right now on this stage.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Oh, I love it. Oh, my word. So a couple more things, and then I'm going to let you go, y'all. She's a busy woman, so I'm going to.
I'm like blinking at emails now, like.
You're like, okay, I'm coming, emails. I'm coming.
Yeah, right.
They'll be all right.
It's Friday. They should know not to do that. You don't mess with an artist on Friday.
Call me back on Monday.
Right.
we work 4 days a week, y'all.
On the low. Friday is just that's the creative outburst day. Like random things come out.
Like, you don't want me to answer email on Friday because you just gonna get
I don't know who you're gonna get. It's 17 people up here.
Right.
I don't know.
Don't worry, I feel the same way. So my next question to you would be, what is your nugget of wisdom? Whether that's from what you learned in being an arts administrator, from being a person, from, just life. Like, what would be your nugget of wisdom?
As an artist, an educator, a Black woman, put the Black woman first, a lesbian, woman in the South, be the same thing that I give to my students in terms of listening and receiving, so that you can have a good understanding of what your audience is. It's the first thing, but also being brave and unafraid as well, because no matter how old you get, you still need that reminder that it's okay to step out your comfort. It's okay to, be eccentric and be passionate, because just because somebody else has let their passion go because they've walked into this weird tunnel of adulthood and they felt that the tunnel does not come with passion or creativity. It just comes with, going to work every day and acting like an adult or something, whatever that means to them. That's not you. That's not your area. That's not your focus, and it's okay to be different. Like, it's okay. Like, just do you, because literally, and I think the pandemic had to remind me of this too. We all have one life, I am a faith-based person, I believe in a higher being. I have my ups and downs with Christianity every other day. I grew up Baptist, but I do know that I don't know, and no one knows exactly what's that next life going to be like. I don't know if it's going to be as lit as this one. So I got to make this one count. And what that means is just doing me the way I'm going to do it. And if you don't like it, you got your path and I got mine.
Right. That right there.
That right there.
Ooh, you tied that up in a nice little bow, Miss Lee. Yes. Or should I say Mrs. Lee? Sorry.
It's definitely the Mrs. Girl. You know, and education is so funny. It's a little key. And education, everyone says MS, like, you know, because, you know, that's the universal, you know, term that they type it out. And so I'll be looking at the emails, right? And I told you it's 17 people up here. So Mrs. Lee be like, why they keep saying Miss? Like, I don't know who that is, because I'm a married woman and I don't think they know the struggle. Okay. Because if you know who I was when I was, okay.
All right.
You know, I'll be about to email back. It's Mrs.
Right. It's Mrs.
But I hold it back.
Right.
I ain't going to be too crazy today. I'm right. And get to the point.
Let me just respond to this email. Keep it moving.
But that's also why, like, my picture on my email is me in my wedding dress.
Yes. So that y'all know.
Shade and no shade, you know, a little bit.
Just a little bit. I'm okay. I'm here for it. I just want
to let you know.
Just want to let you know. Just want you to know. So,
all right. I'm proud of it.
As you should be. But, you know, be like, that's Mrs. Y'all. I just want you to know.
The best things are my students. When they write in my comments and stuff. And sometimes they'll, you know, go back and write. It'll say Miss White because that's, you know, what they remembered me to be. But then they'll put, and somebody be like, that's Mrs. Lee. Don't.
Wait.
Don't play with her because she will correct you. I'm like, I didn't even get to correct them yet. You know, thank you.
For me. Right. Thank you.
They so shady. I love it. I don't know where they got all that shade from. That's crazy.
Who knows?
Probably their parents. I don't know.
Yeah, probably their parents. Yeah. Yes. Oh, I love it. Brittany, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you. So much for
this is great.
And sharing. Yes. So before I let you go, I have two things.
Okay.
So first, if you would like people to connect with you, give them your Instagram handle, your Facebook, you know, wherever you would like people to get in contact.
Absolutely. Instagram is the move, to be honest with you. I think I reply to Instagram more than anything. So, but it's Mrs. Lee, MRSLEE directs, Mrs. Lee directs with the S at the end on Instagram.
Okay.
You can find me there.
Great, y'all. Don't worry. I will put that in the show notes so you have it, so you could link up with Britney if you would like to. And then the last thing that I must say to you is that I acknowledge you, I celebrate you, and I uplift you.
Thank you. And I do all of that to you. This is one of those things where this is a platform here. Point blank, period. And you've created a platform. And as a Black woman saying this to another Black woman, this is beautiful. This is amazing. Point blank, period. And this is a great, it's a great gift to this world and this universe that we are in right now, because we don't see enough of this. So thank you. I really do appreciate you. I really do. I love it.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Britney. Thank you.
Please feel free to visit this episode's show notes for links to get in touch with my guest, as well as a link to rate and review my podcast on Podchaser. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, all you have to do is scroll down to the rate and review section. You can find and connect with me on Instagram at The Artist Pivot to see audiograms, fun facts, and posts featuring my guests. Make sure you hit the subscribe button if you haven't already to get notified when a new episode is out. And please share this episode with at least one friend. Ever heard the phrase found time? Well, Audible helps you find the time to get more stories and information while commuting, cooking, gardening, exercising, etc. Audible is the leading provider of spoken word entertainment and audiobooks, ranging from bestsellers to celebrity memoirs, news, business, and self-development. Every month, members get 1 credit to pick any title, plus 2 Audible originals from a monthly selection, and access to daily news digests, as well as guided meditation programs. They have podcasts, theatrical performances, A-list comedy, and exclusive Audible originals you won't find anywhere else. Fun fact, if you listened to every title on Audible, you'd be listening for more than 3 centuries.
So click the link in the show notes or visit audibletrial.com/theartistpivot to start your 30-day free trial of Audible and listen to that book you haven't read yet or laugh at a comedy special while doing the dishes. Again, that's audibletrial.com/theartistpivot. Using the link lets Audible know that we sent you and a great way to support the show. You can also support the show by buying me a coffee. Well, not literally, but figuratively. Click the Support the Show link in our show notes, and it will take you to a site called Buy Me a Coffee, where you can support the show with your donations. If you do ever want to buy me a coffee in real life, my favorite coffee is the Italian brand Lavazza. No, they did not pay me to say that. This episode was edited by Kieran Niemand and produced by me, Ayanna Major Bay. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll speak to you soon.